wasn't swinging the bat too well. I was feeling sorry for myself. Dad, I'm thinking about, maybe I should take 3 or 4 days off, maybe heal up a little bit and have a new starting point mentally. What do you think about that? And Dad said, what are you going to do when the guy that replaces you tonight gets 3 hits? What do you think the manager is going to want to do with that guy tomorrow night? And I said, he's going to play him. And he said, yeah. He goes, don't let that guy get 3 hits.
The stirrups are up, but they're not all the way up. Looking at that, those pants, like, you're not pulling your pants up. They're just there. Call off the flood. Call it off. Yee! Pull them on up. So that's where it ends.
Doesn't end that high.
You think you can pull those down to your ankle?
Yeah.
Okay. We've had a lot of moments where gone to ballparks, behind the scenes in the locker room, Hall of Fame, but we've never actually sat down until today to actually go over everything that you've accomplished. And what better time? The 30th anniversary is coming up this year, September 6th. And I know you're going to have some events with the Orioles. And so what better time to go through it? First off, 30 years. Does it feel 30 years since you broke the record?
Does it feel like it?
Yeah.
In some ways, it feels like 30 years, but in other ways, it feels like the memory just happened yesterday. So it's cool. I knew I shouldn't have took you into the place where I keep this because I just went for the Orioles to look for a few things for 2131, some memorabilia that would help spur a couple memories going back. And then you went along. So you're trying to find things like this.
Don't worry. So it's one question at a time here. So we're talking about the journey. Has it been 30 years or how long it's felt? But this one, how you doing? This is you in high school. And if you guys can't read that, it says hippie impersonates MVP. So this was after you won the MVP in 1983. Great. You want to hold this hairstyle for you a little bit? Does that jolt back some memories?
Well, when you have a little hair, you gotta use it, I suppose. No, so I was a pitcher on the mound for the Aberdeen Eagles. That was my senior year. I think this might have been a soccer picture at one point in front of the brick wall at Aberdeen. This one was in front of Miami Stadium. I think when I played there in 1979, and I guess this one is 83. Guess the Chicago White Sox too, but yep, everybody should have to go back and show their yearbook picture, and I bet you I could find some of yours too.
Well, I mean, there's a similarity with the hairstyle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can see where I kind of get it from. You were pretty damn good on the mound. People that don't know that, you were drafted to be a pitcher, or the option. Most people wanted you as a pitcher. Isn't that kind of funny to think of? If you had signed with, say, St. Louis, like say they drafted you and they wanted you just to pitch, none of this would have happened.
No, I don't think I had much of a choice except when the Orioles drafted me. And I think my dad played a role in that. Of course, Earl Weaver saw me take some ground balls and take batting practice at Memorial Stadium. But most people that scouted me as a pitcher, and the Orioles scouted me as both. And ultimately, I was given a choice that, what do you want to do? And ironically, when you play everything forward in your mind, my answer was pitchers only get to play 1 out of every 5 games. I want to play every day.
It does make me smile because that phrase right there is essentially embodies what you ended up doing, right? You wanted to play every single day. Maybe that was a metaphor that you weren't going to play every single day. Going back from the jump, I know this, that you didn't set out to do that. You didn't set out to play every single game. You wanted the opportunity to play. And maybe we'll start with senior. And actually, I'm going to run and grab, because I think this is a good moment here because I don't have the bats over here.
Yeah, we ran into a couple of tools that reminded me of Dad when we were looking for memorabilia. Both bats. It's really interesting. This fungo bat, I think it was an H49 or H149. I can't remember.
Let me get that out.
And this was Dad's tool. Dad Dad hit thousands and thousands of fungos, ground balls with this tool. And so when we found it today, looking through all the stuff, it made me feel really good. Dad was a teacher. It's making me a little bit emotional trying to figure out what words you want to say about Dad. I can't say he was the exact reason that I played, but I went to the ballpark with him. He put me in a uniform like at 8 years old. I ran around the outfield and taught me about the game. So this was really cool finding this here today. But yeah, he was probably the reason that I came to the ballpark to play every day, to play, as he would say, to meet the challenge of the day. You can't replay yesterday's game and you can't play tomorrow's game. So you might as well play this one. And so it was your job to come to the ballpark ready to play, and it was the manager's job to choose the lineup. So it was Dad.
To circle back to that, because this is where the beginning started. It wasn't when you were drafted. It was the days when you went to the field. And I think the reason why that senior played a part in you choosing or having the option to play shortstop and Earl Weaver then ultimately saying, let's give the kid a chance, was those moments of driving to the field and you would go and take ground balls at the stadium, right? And have those moments over and over again. You know, I love stories, and I probably have heard all of them.
So Dad was really smart because he knew that there was a couple angles in which he could play, for his own son. And he brought this up. He said, we've had many kids that have had good arms, and they could be possibly pitchers or they could be regular players. And we've had really good success starting them as regular players. And if they don't work out that way, we can always go back to pitching. But we haven't had any success starting them at pitching. And if that doesn't work out, you can't go back to being a regular player. You miss too much time in your development as a hitter. So I thought that was an artful way of positioning the thought process, at least for the Orioles brass and the general manager and the farm director and the scout that scouted me. It positioned it to give me a choice. And ultimately, Hank Peters said, Cal, what do you want to do? And that's when I said, appropriately, that pitchers only get to play 1 out of every 5 games. I want to play every day.
I know I probably have heard most of the stories, but do you have a moment with Pop, as I called him, Senior, that you remembered from going into pro ball? Like, is there a specific moment? Because you knew that you were probably going to go the pro ball route. I remember hearing the story about you never really looked at colleges.
Well, I was lucky to have, a dad that had experience in it. And he had been around many players. And he said, you really can't tell about a player, at least look at his potential, until he's around 16. When he comes into manhood a little bit, you start to see what his potential could be. And he saw in me, at 16 years old, he said, you're going to have a chance to play pro ball. And so once he said that to me, I set my sights on playing ball. I wouldn't say I ignored college requests, but it wasn't I never went and looked at a college. I never thought that that was my path. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I need a college education as a backup. If I don't make it in baseball, then, and we got our contract to say that with the Orioles, that if I wanted to go back and go to college at any point in my life, I think we worded it kind of that way, that the Orioles would have to pay for it, and they agreed. So maybe at almost 65, I might go back to college and and ask the Orioles to pay for it.
Yeah, well, wouldn't that be something? Right now, dig that out of the archives.
I think the best idea for that is to create a scholarship. In the spirit of that move is the scholarship that I never took, the college education that I never took. Try to create a scholarship out of that idea and give it out every year.
Yeah. And the essence of this with Cal Senior Foundation is always trying to give back to the kids that through the game of baseball and have the opportunities, because how the impact of playing and where that led to. But for most kids, it's about the structure, the discipline, the guidance. Now you had the opportunity to chase your dream, but also the guidance and the path that you went opened up so many doors.
Well, it's good to have the encyclopedia of baseball as a dad, if that's what you want to go into your career as. And it was really interesting. There were times when you need them, when you call home. You experienced how difficult it is to go on the road and go to the minor leagues and make adjustments and try to meet the challenges of you're playing against the best players in the country when you go into pro ball. And I remember I didn't hit a home run in my first year in Bluefield, 64 games, 0 home runs. I made 30-some errors, which is a huge amount of errors to make in 64 games. And there were times when I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think I could make it. Called Dad up. Dad was just, this is all part of your development. I do remember in A-ball once I called him up. I got hit with a pitch. My arm was sore. I wasn't swinging the bat too well. I was feeling sorry for myself. Dad, I'm thinking about, maybe I should take 3 or 4 days off, maybe heal up a little bit and have a new starting point mentally. What do you think about that? And Dad said, what are you going to do when the guy that replaces you tonight gets 3 hits? What do you think the manager is going to want to do with that guy tomorrow night? And I said, he's going to play him. And he said, yeah. He goes, don't let that guy get 3 hits. So.
And there's the inner workings of it. For those that also don't know, Wally Pipp was the first baseman for the New York Yankees before Lou Gehrig. Wally Pipp took a day off. Lou Gehrig went on to 130 straight games here. And by the way, you said you made all those errors, not trying to bring up a great moment for you. No home runs, no pop, errors left and right. Who the hell is this kid? Also, for those that don't know this, you weren't always a 6'3.5" now, 6'4". We'll give you 6'4". We saw the milk posters.
You measured yourself up to it.
And I was higher than 6'4", but you didn't measure up next to it. So we don't really know where that stands.
Well, I'm at a shrinking point in my life, but go ahead.
Okay, where I was going with this, you weren't 6'4", 6'5". I
was drafted at 6'2", 180.
What were you as a freshman in high school?
5'7", 5'9", 5'7", 5'7", 128. And the only reason I remember that I made the varsity baseball team as a freshman, as a second baseman, because I couldn't throw all the way from short to first base accurately enough. I don't think we were a really good baseball team, so I made it kind of by default. I led the team in sacrifice bunts. I think I hit 128 at that time frame. And I started to get a growth spurt. I grew almost 3 inches and, gained, 8 to 10 pounds a year. And when ultimately I played for all those years at 6'4", 225.
Yeah, no offense. You weren't a buck anything when you got into the big leagues here. All right, I'm just saying.
195 in Miami, I remember that.
And then mainly in the 200s when you were in the big leagues.
Yeah, 210, 215 in AAA.
Maybe 220 at some point down the road.
Settled in.
But I wanted to emphasize that you went on to accomplish what few could ever dream of. I don't think people even had dreams of this because you didn't have dreams to play 2,632 straight games, let alone break the record. But 5'7", shrimp boat, you were a shrimp boat in some cases, 125, and you couldn't hit a lick. Well, not that you couldn't hit, but you were there almost by default. They needed you. You could do some things right. You could do the little things right. But for a lot of people out there that go, Cal Ripken Jr. went on to accomplish all these things. I tell you this the whole time. People didn't realize that you had to grow into that. Yeah, leadership,
I had a
maturity.
late growth spurt. I don't think I shaved in Bluefield at all. I was late there too. But so I matured later. Got a chance to play the position of shortstop. Then I got my size. And so in some ways, when I got moved back to shortstop, it felt like you were a smaller person in a bigger body at that time. And I was more mature, being able to make the catches and all the throws and all that kind of stuff that shortstop requires. Yeah.
I could go down the high school days for you for the longest time because I know you bring up
the 128 story was the reason it's sealed into my mind is because they all kind of hazed me a little bit. They kind of said, we have this ritual that everybody's got to weigh in, of course, and I was the first one. So you get up in your little white underwear, you stand up on the scale, they measure you, and then they say it out loud, 5'7", 128, and then everybody burst out laughing, and it was kind of embarrassing. And, you're just a little boy, trying to play with a bunch of juniors and seniors. So, but that's why I remember what my weight and height was in freshman in high school.
And we all have a starting point, Well, we do. I think I told you this. I mean, you gave me the wrong impression from a kid just because I thought everyone's dad played 21 years. Counting pro ball, it's 25 years in professional baseball, right? Mm-hmm. Right around there. 19 all-star games. Sorry if I'm missing those 19, right? 19. I'm not losing my mind. 2 MVPs. I know that. You also then won a home run derby. You won a World Series, Rookie of the Year. Really everything that you could have possibly, goodness gracious, all right? So the wrong precedent. Everyone's dad's going to do this, Not everyone's dad does this. So,
but we had a chance to go down memory lane by looking in boxes of stuff that's been.
And that's why I wanted to bring it up. So why don't we start with, let's go back to 1983.
Yeah. Well, I can go back a little further than that.
You got to go. Let's do it. What do you got?
So this is Dad's, but one of the things that makes me the happiest when I was looking through this stuff to try to find things for 21-31, I found, this glove. And this glove was from my 1982 season, and it has a basket web to it because in 1982, I started at third base, but then Earl Weaver moved me to shortstop, and I remember thinking as a shortstop, I don't want an open web or an H web because you got to get the ball in and out of your glove quickly, and the chance of catching your fingers in the webbing could be a problem. So I chose the basket web and used this all year. Played really well. Ended up being voted the Rookie of the Year. This glove, in many ways, kind of started all off at shortstop, which I think is pretty cool. Then I found the '83 version. Looks a lot like.
I can hold one of them.
It's got a little bit more wear and tear on it. And I went through about one and a half gloves a year. I had one glove that I wore for 3 years, but again, the basket web, but these were the only two. Then I went back to an H web because there was an advantage of catching fly balls by looking through the H in your glove and shielding the sun at the same time. And so I realized that, I was accomplished enough where I wasn't catching my fingers up here, turn double plays. I could still turn double plays with that, but it looks like a relatively small glove. Shortstops, second baseman have to get the ball in and out of their glove really well. But 2 gloves that were in good shape made me smile because it made me think of '82 and '83. And my favorite piece of memorabilia you're holding in your hand is, and I wrote it on the side of this cube. The last out of the '83 World Series. So let's take a peek at that one.
Of all the accolades that I just mentioned, when anyone's asked you what was the most,
I think this is locked important in there. I don't think we'll be able to touch it.
It's never coming out. But the most of all the accolades, even the streak, even though we're going to get to that, but even the streak, your most proud memory or one of them was the team won. This is what you set out to do from the jump, win a world championship.
Well, quite honestly, when you're a kid, you have a dream of playing professional baseball, making it to the big leagues. How's that feel? But part of that dream is winning the World Series. So when this happened for me, I caught the last out, a little humpback line drive straight at me. I caught it with that glove and sealed the ball around it. There was this sense of accomplishment, this feeling that nothing you do on a baseball field can rival that feeling. And I remember running in to celebrate because Eddie was there, Scotty McGregor was there, Dempsey was there, and you went in to celebrate. And in those days, they still had people charging the field or running on the field. And somebody tried to take the ball out of my glove. And I started to get a little aggressive with them. Say, you didn't get in this ball.
Yeah, a little box out action.
And then my hat, they try to grab my hat off my head. I grabbed the hat off my head and had those two things secured in my hand. And then we ran into the clubhouse to get off the field and where our celebration occurred. But I wrote on here, last out of 1983 World Series with the World Series logo. And so this is my favorite piece.
When did it start to hit you that you were going to win the World Series? I don't want to say that you never look forward. I know you're in the moment. It's the present time, but.
Well, it started to build a little bit because we lost the first game of the series. And then we came back, we fought back, we won the next 4. So we're up 3-1. And at the start of that game, in the clinching game, Eddie Murray was in a little bit of a slump or whatever else. But in the first inning, bam, he hits a home run. Puts us ahead. Second time he comes up, bam, hits another home run. And so we have it's kind of a comfortable lead. I can't remember. I think we won 5-0. But I think, as each inning started to go our way, we started to think, just a matter of time. But you got to fight that feeling. You got to say, okay, they can score a bunch of runs at any time. They're a really good team. And you just try to take it one pitch, one out at a time. But when it got around the 8th or 9th inning, or whatever else, you started to anticipate that, hey, we got a chance to win the World Series. And then when it got 2 outs, then your feeling was just right on the edge. And that little line drive that came at me, at first I thought I was going to have to jump for it. And then I realized I wouldn't have to. And it was coming right here. And so simple play, just catch it. And then the celebration starts.
Yeah. I smile because I wish that I could have seen that moment. I wish Baltimore could have experienced another one of those moments here since then.
I think about the young Orioles now, and you look out there and you see Gunnar at 23. I was 23 when we won the World Series. You can't get luckier than that. My first year, 82, we went to the last day of the season. Really exciting last 4 games. We won the first 3 to make us tied with Milwaukee after 161. And then we had Jim Palmer on the mound, who hadn't been beaten in 3 months. They had Don Sutton. We thought we had the advantage. Robin Yount, the MVP of that year, hit 2 home runs off of Jim. And we ended up losing that game. But we watched them celebrate on our field. And I swear that sort of motivation, really helped us get off to a good start because we kept thinking, where could we have made up that one game? And we started off really good and we pushed. We won the division pretty easy. And then we had to get through Chicago, the White Sox, to get to the World Series. That was a good rivalry, a good series, but we got past them. And just kept plugging away. And so it was a good feeling. And it happened so early in my career, I thought it was going to happen, every year. I thought 83, all these great things are happening. We'll be back next year. We'll be back next year. And I never got back to the World Series. But I do know what it feels like to win, the one that I got to.
So for all the ones that say that baseball teams and organizations, the champagne showers are too much. Don't celebrate each time. I say screw that. Yeah. Celebrate the moment because it's so hard to get there. There is one iconic photo of you and Big Ed. You guys were having a little bit too much fun. Well, I mean, you know what? You should.
Well, you didn't know what you were doing. You didn't know.
What were you doing?
You're spraying champagne all over the place. You're drinking half the time.
Did you know that photo I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
The one photo where your hair is woo. We're talking about hair right now. But that to me was one of those.
Well, it's an authentic moment because you have such joy around you, and you're embracing everybody, you're hugging everybody, you're pouring champagne over their head. You're trying to do things I guess you saw on TV when people won the World Series, but it was a really authentic moment. I mean, it would have been really cool to win it at home and then celebrate that with your fans at home. But we had a bunch of people that drove up and they watched the World Series up there, and to do it, period, doesn't matter if you're home or away. It was a wonderful celebration.
And you had a chance to pop bottles, not to win a championship at playoffs 96, 97. It's the only other 2 times, right?
Well, it made you really appreciate, how hard it is to get back, and then going through a rebuilding situation and then getting to be pretty good. But we're on the edge of winning again. And 96 and 97, we were so close to being in the World Series. It's an extra round of the playoffs at that time. We got past Cleveland the one year. We got past the Mariners the next year. Mike Messina was unhittable in that series. We beat Randy Johnson twice in that series. And then we had the unfortunate part of Jeffrey Mayer reached over the fence on the
good times.
on the ball. You know, that might have been the moment that changed the series a little bit, and the Yankees end up beating us. I made the last out of that series too, by the way.
But that felt good.
I hit a 2-hopper in the hole to Jeter with an outside chance of beating it to first base, but I was so desperate, didn't want the season to end. I dove into first base, and they tell you never to dive into
Well, you told me never to dive head first,
but
ever.
But the desperation was there, and I didn't want it to end. And I landed, and I was out by barely a little bit. And for the next 2 weeks, I had abrasions on both of my forearms and my knees. That was a reminder of that last out. But it was fun to be back in the playoffs again. In '97, we were clearly the best team from the first day to the last day of the season. Got past Randy Johnson, twice in that series. And then the Cleveland series hit, which, there was a couple things that happened in that series that made us go the wrong way. We played extra inning games. It was really close, but we didn't quite get there. So.
Yeah, I asked Omar Vizquel. I had him on again. I had to ask him about the squeeze.
But he wasn't a squeeze. There was 2 outs, guy on third, and he tried to bunt for a hit. And I was playing third, and I was, in because he could bunt, and many times he bunted with 2 strikes, and he foul tipped it, went through Lenny Webster's legs or back to the backstop, and the umpire decided not to call it a foul ball. And
Omar says he never touched it.
He called it a wild pitch. He hit it.
He said he never touched the ball on that one, but you go back and watch, it's let's just say the HD.
Have you examined it closely?
Well, there's not enough HD TV to go back and really examine it. So I wasn't on the field then. I was.
But I had a really good look at it from where I was.
And your vision's 2010, so
I
know
I had the best angle that anybody could have, and it hit off his bat.
There was those types of moments in that series.
Yep.
Mike Messina in the clincher. I do remember watching that one back. That unbelievable, heartbreaking in the end. We're not here to bring up all the bad times with it, except Omar didn't touch the bat or didn't touch the ball there, which we know.
He did.
But everything in between, I think it's a good journey to tell us. I don't think that people understand how hard it is to get to the bigs. I don't think people understand how hard it is to win.